Canadians across the country celebrated 60 years yesterday since the national maple leaf flag made its first appearance. And in the midst of U.S. President Donald Trump's broadsides against Canada, it was an anniversary that reverberated loudly. CBC's Nicole Williams has more.
Nothing subtle about it. This National Flag Day, Canadian pride is soaring.
It's the flag that I truly love, being Ukrainian and moving to Canada. And I wear it and, it's part of my fashion statements.
I came to Canada as a 10-year-old. I loved Canada right from the beginning of my 10th year to the present.
Across the country, people are celebrating the maple leaf in a show of patriotism.
Vive la Canada!
And an act of defiance, even in less than ideal weather.
Things seem to be heading in the worst possible direction. So it's time to stand up and be counted if you can stand up in the wind.
It's likely the first time many have actively celebrated since former Prime Minister Jean Chrétien declared National Flag of Canada Day in 1996. It commemorates the day the maple leaf officially replaced the Canadian red ensign as our official flag and flew over Parliament Hill for the very first time on February 15, 1965. Now, 60 years on, with the looming threat of a trade war with the U.S. and threats of another kind from the president.
I think Canada is going to be a very serious contender to be our 51st state.
All of Canada's living prime ministers have issued a call to action. Stand up to Donald Trump by celebrating our flag.
When somebody is actually challenging our identity as a country, we come together, and the flag is a great symbol for connecting us.
A rallying cry many are eager to answer.
We are Canadians! Yeah, tough and hardy!
He needs to know that we're a sovereign nation. We love who we are. We are Canadian.
So, this year's Flag Day, a clear message that Canadians want to stay Canadians. Whether that message is received by our neighbors to the south remains to be seen. Nicole Williams, CBC News, Toronto.
So at noon today, in this 8th month of our 98th year as a confederation, our new flag will fly for the first time in the skies above Canada and in all places overseas where Canadians serve their country.
Now, CBC News spoke to some Canadians at a Flag Day event in Toronto, and they shared what the flag means to them.
It means a lot of things. It means resilience. It means just a country that everybody, like from all over the corners of the earth, have come together to celebrate and to build lives here. And I think, we say we're the greatest country in the world. Everybody would say that, but I think we truly have something special here, and I think that's what the flag represents.
I think it's important to support Canada and the community in something like this, and what a better way to enjoy a Saturday morning, right?
I'm just proud to be Canadian. We've always been behind the flag. Our parents taught us that it was very important to support our own country. So, and I was there when they picked this one.
Elaine Watts, formerly Elaine Tanner, was only 15 years old when she stood on a podium at the 1966 Commonwealth Games after winning a then record 7 medals. Those games were the first time she saw the new Canadian flag being raised, and she joins us today to remember that moment with us. She's joined by her husband, John, and they're in Victoria, British Columbia. Thank you both for taking the time to talk to us.
Thanks for having us.
Great to be here.
Elaine, I want to start with you. You were there when that brand new Canadian flag that we all know and love so much was raised at the 1966 Commonwealth Games. Tell us about that moment.
It was a moment I'll never forget. I know it was almost 60 years ago, but it felt like yesterday. It was the first event, it was a women's 4x100 freestyle relay. And it was the first evening of finals at the Commonwealth Games in Kingston, Jamaica. And our relay team we were underdogs because the Aussies were favored to win, and they held the world record. So we didn't really expect to do much. But I was well coached, and my coach said, if you think you false started, if the rope doesn't come down, just swim like heck. So what happened was, I think I did false start, but the rope never went down, and I swam like crazy, and I did get a lead for our team. And our team, a Canadian team, won, and we beat the Aussies by 1/10 of a second, and we broke the world record that night. And I'll never forget the four of us girls, so surprised and having the world record under our belt, getting up on that podium and watching that beautiful new Canadian flag fly high and listening to that anthem. And I'll tell you, I get goosebumps when I talk about it right now. It's one of the greatest memories of my life.
And our viewers got to see you swimming like heck through some archival footage while you were sharing that story with us. John, you're obviously a proud Canadian. You're wearing your toque with red and white. You're wearing the Tragically Hip T-shirt. You're also a very proud husband. You were such a key part with Elaine sharing her story with us today. Why is it important for you to highlight your wife's story on this Flag Day?
Well, Elaine is such a iconic Canadian athlete and has shared so many stories with me over 40 years almost. And I felt some of these priceless Canadian moments in history should be shared and shared with the Canadian public. And obviously CBC being a symbol of Canada, like our flag. I thought what a great network to share with. And also, Elaine has to cheerlead herself more. She's not very good at that, so I try to make up for it.
How do you think the meaning of our flag and how we feel when we look at that maple leaf has evolved through the years?
Well, a sense of pride. It's very respected worldwide. And I think Canadians are proud to wear the maple leaf symbol when they travel. And also, I think of all the service people, men and women who served in many wars. And prior to the Canadian flag, it was the British, I think they called it the Union Jack. The Union Jack. Both our parents are Second World War veterans. And it's very important that we think of them and think of our first responders and our Canadian athletes who represent Canada so well.
When I represented Canada and I traveled the world, I was so proud to wear that maple leaf, and we were so well received everywhere in the world. Canadians were really well respected and really well liked, and so I'm really proud of that, and I want to continue that legacy that we have. And I think as Canadians, that's something that we should do, and we owe it to each other. And as John said, to the war vets, the soldiers in the military that helped create the freedoms that we have today.
Thank you both so much for sharing your remarkable story with us, being there for that moment when the flag was first raised, and also your insights on how what it means to be Canadian has evolved through the years. Thank you so much, Elaine and John Watt, joining us from Victoria.